and that we will have questions at the end. And you can put them in the chat box and we will take care of them at that point. We're going to start off with our program with a video from St. Luke's, our sponsor for today. Thank you.
St. Luke's knows that trust is the foundation of all relationships. It's earned over time. It's the type of relationship you should have with your healthcare team. While our healthcare needs are different, one thing is constant. St. Luke's is focused on building a lasting relationship with you, earning your trust and putting your well-being first. When it comes to great healthcare, trust is essential. St. Luke's, the care you trust, now more than ever.
Thank you. Before we introduce our speakers, I'd like to introduce Dr. Tina Richardson, our chancellor, the founder of Launchbox Ladies, and a very dear friend. I'm honored to introduce Dr. Richardson.
Thank you very much, Catherine. It is an absolute delight to be with you all this afternoon. Thank you so much for attending today's virtual program. I appreciate that you have taken the time to join us for what I believe is another important issue in our Launchbox Ladies series. Today, we will hear from 4 highly accomplished women business professionals. Individuals who will shed light on an extremely important topic, and that is the role of financing and the role that financing plays in any small business success. Before we get into the program, though, please allow me to say a few words about Lehigh Valley Launchbox. Lehigh Valley Launchbox is one of Penn State University's 21 innovation hubs. The hubs were created to promote entrepreneurship and economic development across the state. So we serve as a resource for early stage businesses that want to connect to the support and resources that Penn State has to offer that can enhance your ability to build a company or business that's poised for sustainable long-term growth. Any Lehigh Valley community member who has a business idea or would like to scale up their small business is welcome to take advantage of the services. And most of the services that we provide to entrepreneurs are at no cost to the entrepreneur. Launchbox wants to help entrepreneurs avoid any of the common and costly mistakes that happen with startups. And so it is our intent to help you concentrate your energies on growing your business. And so we can do that through a number of programs. We do it through micro grant funding opportunities, free co-working space in downtown Allentown, access to free Penn State legal and intellectual property services, as well as ongoing education programming. We help entrepreneurs by giving them access to top-tier advisors from the Lehigh Valley business community. So there's no doubt, no question that our approach is working for so many individuals. We've helped over 50 startup companies graduate from our program since this initiative was created. And we've given out over $128,000 in micro grants to a diverse array of entrepreneurs. So Launchbox Ladies is one of many programs that we offer. And through this program, we provide thought-provoking conversations that spotlight the unique challenges and successes of female entrepreneurs in the Lehigh Valley. So at this point, I would like to say that today's panelists, Sally, Jahira, and Javada, you'll hear from them very, very soon, but they will provide some very stimulating food for thought. So with that in mind, I would like to tell you a little bit about our very distinguished moderator, Catherine Bailey. Catherine Bailey is the former president and chief operating officer of Redeeming Beauty, Inc., home of the original beauty blender. And most recently, she has served on a number of boards. And so among the many, many accolades that Catherine Bailey has, I would like to share with you that she was recently named the Executive of the Year by Lehigh Valley Business and is a past recipient of the Ben Franklin Entrepreneurial Award. But most recently, she was named one of the Valley's Women of Influence. She is a mentor and marketing chair for SCORE Lehigh Valley and a member of the board for NCC Foundation and also the Workforce Investment Board. So without further ado, I will turn things over to Catherine Bailey, but we are so proud that she is not only the moderator, but is a founding member of Launchbox Ladies and serves on the advisory board for Launchbox as well. So Catherine, the floor is completely yours.
Oh my, well, thank you so much, Dr. Richardson, for all those kind words. And without further ado, I think we need to get to the program and our speakers. As Dr. Richardson said, they have some very good information and maybe information that isn't as widely known as some other opportunities out there in the world of small business and entrepreneurialism. And thank you also, Dr. Richardson, for adding Launchbox because they also fit in to the topic of today's conversation. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Sally Handlin. Sally is the founder and president of Handlin Business Resources. And as you can see from the slide, she is very prominent in the Valley and is very much into assisting entrepreneurs and especially supporting women. Next, we have Jahira Rodriguez. Jahira Rodriguez is the associate lender at Rising Tide, an amazing organization in the Valley that is supporting entrepreneurs that perhaps cannot get lending through more traditional resources. Welcome, Jahira. And Javada Crawford, who is a business owner and founder of Project Move. But to today's program, Javada has been very inventive and resourceful in securing funding through other means, through participating in pitch contests, participating in some of the programs offered by Launchbox and other entrepreneurial programs in the Valley. So it'll be very interesting to hear from her about that journey. Sally, let's start with you. Would you just say a few words about you?
Would love to. Thanks so much, Catherine, and welcome to everybody that's here today and my fellow speakers. I'd like to share a little bit of my personal background. This is my third business, Handlin Business Resources, and it started because I saw a need when I was working at the Small Business Development Center at Lehigh in business education and training. And what would happen is we would help guide and provide great information, but our businesses didn't have the time or the energy or the expertise to follow through on some of the guidance that they provided. So I do short-term project work for businesses, including helping them get financing when that opportunity arises. So I help prepare them. As a former banker, I know what the lender's looking for. And as a business owner, I know what the struggles are as a business.
Thanks,
you, Catherine.
Thank you. Jahira, a little bit about you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jahira. I've been working with community action for over 10 years. I've been a part of a lot of the community economic development programs. And when I came across the Rising Tide, I thought about my dad. Growing up, on the side, he used to install fences, and I never thought about it turning into a business. And then once hearing about the Rising Tide and seeing people come in and getting loans and seeing that there's actually support out there and resources to help people to become business owners. Like I said, I just thought about my dad and how he missed out on an opportunity because it was probably out there that he may have not known. I just wanted to, be able to help others to know that there's resource out there for those who don't even know that you can start a business, and there are people there to guide you through those processes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Jahira.
Hello, everyone. I am the founder of Project Move, and I am a little bit different than the other two vendors, is that I'm the person that was looking for funding. So a lot of people might be sitting in that position looking for funding, where you're running a business, you're making some money, but you're wondering how you're going to grow your business. I was looking for opportunities. I was working with the Penn State program to understand what funding opportunities were out there. And I threw my hat in the ring for a pitch contest. And that was a eye-opening experience to me, because it helped me to refine my business, because when you're pitching, you have to be very clear on what your business is and what your objectives are. But when you win, you have the opportunity to have some funding that's not a loan, that you are able to invest in yourself and into your business so that you can grow the goals that you identified. So I am a firm believer that there's funding out there, and we want to just help you to understand how to find it, so that growing your business is not taking away from your personal finances, but it's really a way to invest in the future for yourself and your family.
Thank you, Jahira. That's great. Jahira, I'll go back to you and ask, how does an entrepreneur or small business owner start the process with Rising Tide? What is the proper process?
So we work with startup or existing businesses. The business or startup has to be located in 5 counties, which are Lehigh, Northampton, Monroe, and Upper Bucks County. When one reaches out to us, it can either be through our website, or they can call us and meet with one of our business advisors. And then the process is, once you meet with a business advisor, you can sort of tell them, what you're looking for, how much money you need, what the purpose is for, and then our business advisor will go through all the steps that are on our application. Also, it can also be technical assistance that we provide to businesses. That could be in the form of marketing, or maybe even assistance with financials and that sort of stuff. So whatever the business owner, entrepreneur needs, we offer those types of helps free of cost.
And how long generally is the process?
The process can take about 30 days. So you say about a month, as long as we have all the paperwork that is needed. It's about a month, we typically say about a month.
Okay, that's kind of amazing. Thank you. And you say anyone is eligible that comes to your door?
Yeah, so any startup, like I said, we work with any startup or existing business. So we'll help anyone who has a startup or an existing business.
Great. Sally, you're a full service business and helping clients through several aspects of their business and the process of starting up and or growing to a next level or whatever. Is there a right or better time for someone to approach you for their need?
Catherine, I would say the sooner the better, because it is extremely important for me to get a feel of where the business is in the process, what they need, and evaluate. And as you said, it is a business for me. So I do charge for my time and services. However, I want to be extremely fair. So I need to get a full picture of what the client needs. and then provide them with some alternatives in addition to my services. I usually, especially with a startup, I provide them with many alternatives to think about before they take their next step to do the business plan.
Alternatives in terms of where they seek lending, or alternatives in how to run the business?
It could, if it's a startup, Catherine, what I do is I look at what all their needs are. Financing is usually one of them, but they may need some help with market research to understand where their business falls within the particular community that they want to have the business. They may need to look at what are the skill levels of people that they want to have involved, and do those people exist in the community that they're, looking to start their business. So I take sort of a 360-degree approach. Some of that I can help support, some of that I refer out to others. And if there's a conflict, I usually refer it out to others so that they have a fair shot at what they're looking to start.
Fantastic. So it is full service in that it's just not going to get paperwork ready for a loan or so forth. You help
Correct.
with the other aspects that grow to that point.
That's correct. And as far as my services go, I basically don't do HR or IT. I stay out of those arenas because they're changing all the time. But other areas I can help them in, and I definitely have contacts in all of the areas of running a business. As I said, this is my third business. I started it with the idea that I'd be in it 3 to 5 years, and I'm now on year 16. So
That happens, doesn't it?
yeah.
Jahira, as we've already heard from you, you kind of went a different route looking for your funding. Can you walk our audience through what kind of process do you have to go through to prepare for a pitch, and what kind of support do you receive? Do you do it all on your own? What's that pathway like?
Okay, well, I will first start and say I would never do it on my own, and I would never recommend that anyone who is thinking about doing a pitch do it on their own. So that being the first thing is just to make sure that you do have a team, as Sally was mentioning, that it takes, when you're running a business, even though you may be a solo entrepreneur where you're the only person doing your particular business, you cannot operate in a silo. And so when I was preparing for the pitch contest, the first pitch contest that I did was with Idea Test Lab, which they have applications open. So make sure you check that out, where it was really about like developing your business idea to understand what you're actually going to be doing and selling. What's really required for a good pitch is to really understand your business model and who is actually going to benefit from your service or product that you're providing, because people are looking to invest in possibilities of success, not just ideas. Like, you can't just say, oh, I want to like paint the sky green, and then you go out and do a pitch about painting the sky green. It won't really work for you. So I had the opportunity, because I was a part of the Penn State family of entrepreneurs, by working through their program, I got access to people who were very good in marketing, very good in strategy. And so it's important that the pitch is not always the end goal result that you're looking for. You're looking for that you end up with a great business model that you can execute and that you can really build off of. And so when I talk about resources, it's not just about money, it's also about who do you have access. So like, I have access to Catherine, who is an extraordinarily great marketer. And so being able to have access to those types of people as I'm developing my marketing strategy is invaluable. And that's something that you can't purchase. And so you want to make sure that as you're developing, that you're surrounding yourself with people who can help to not guarantee your success, but at least put you on a stronger path forward. So the first step is understanding your business model and what you're actually selling and what you're doing, because you can't pitch from like, what do they say, you can't sell from an empty wagon. Well, you can't pitch from an empty wagon either.
Oh, I love that phrase. Nicole had a question for you, Javada, about where do you find these opportunities? How did you find the opportunities?
Well, like networking is not dead. I know that we are not in person, but it's important for you to talk to lots of people because so I'll tell you the path. I was in the Idea Test Lab, and then they did the Startup Lehigh Valley Startup Lehigh Valley. They did a pitch contest, and I got to be on TV. Now that was super fun. I did not win, but it was super fun. But I told everybody I was going to be on that. And then one of the contacts reached out to me and said, did you know that the YWCA national office has a pitch contest? And since you volunteer with the YWCA, you're eligible to apply. And that's the one that I actually won. And so had I not been doing my networking and telling people that this is something that I'm interested in funding, no one's going to just volunteer the information to you. There are sites that have, information. You can go on the Pennsylvania site to look to see who has grant applications. But sometimes that's overwhelming for people because it's like you feel like, can I compete? But to me, it's like once you've done one pitch, you're almost ready for every pitch that's after it. You only get better the more times you do it. And what happens is that elevator pitch that, sometimes you struggle with, you'll get so good at it. People will be like, well, what do you do? And then you just say it right away. So, so it's I feel like you get better in business and better in selling yourself the more pitches you do. And then the more pitches you do, the more money you can win. So it was, so to me, it was a great December because now I have that seed money so that I can continue to grow the business. And it's not so much of taking anything from my personal finances.
So that sounds like practice makes perfect. And the more you network, the more people you meet, the more opportunities there are for other pitch contests. And
Yes.
along the way, you're promoting your business and your
Yes.
business is being marketed to many, many people. So it's definitely a win-win. That's fantastic.
Okay, I already see they want to see the pitch, but if there's enough time, then I'll do the pitch for you. It's only like 3 minutes, so it's pretty quick, but I'll wait. I see that. See, they're already saying
Okay.
it. So that's pretty
There
cool.
will be opportunity. If not today, we'll find the opportunity. Because I
Okay.
happen to see it and I think it's worth watching. So that's fantastic. Thank you. Sally, I wanted to ask this question, and it's a little bit perhaps ouchy, if you will, but with all the mentoring that I do, I've run into this situation. When a business comes to you and they want you to help them prepare, to grow the business, to look for funding or whatever, and when you see all the information, you just know that through your experience, this is going to be an issue, or there's going to be a problem, or it doesn't make sense. How do you deal with something like that? And how can you help an entrepreneur move beyond that onto the next step?
Well, Catherine, what I try to do is not really discourage anybody in the process, because there have been times where people have had ideas that were like pet rock. Who would have invested in a pet rock years ago? There are things that are out there. So there's a gem in there. So what we try and do when I'm with the person is really explore what their options are, what their challenges are going to be based on what they're presenting, how they can possibly learn to work around that, position themselves better. Maybe they just need some more time to get themselves more appropriate. There are generally, in fact, I just had one this week that I was a little disappointed at. Generally, 85 to 90% of the people I work with get financing, but one this week didn't because they didn't have sufficient collateral and they didn't think they needed it because it was their business. And so you really try to make people and help them understand, both from a business perspective and the financing perspective, why it's important to have all the I's dotted, T's crossed, and really bring your business to a position like Javada said, where you're pitching it correctly, that people are understanding what it is that you're doing, and that you're clear in your objectives and your actions. So Again, I try not to. Some people tried to discourage me from my business when I started 16 years ago. But I kept plugging, and I'd like to also underscore something Javada said about the networking. Get yourself some people out in the field to help provide some input to you as you're building your plan. I mean, we get caught in our heads, so we think circular. And so we can't necessarily get out of what our own thoughts are, but you bounce them off of other people and you have aha moments.
And you say such an important thing when both of you, Javada and you, but the networking and so forth, but also not to try to do it alone, and the importance of having support, a mentor, someone that you can bounce your ideas off of, and be encouraging as opposed to discouraging. So you need that outside support and not do it alone. That's
Absolutely.
so important. I see we have some questions. Let's see what we have here. Lisa, any guidance for determining when to seek funding versus using your own savings? Who wants to? Sally, you want to go after
I'll
that?
start. Yeah. As a business, as a startup business or an existing business, you are going to have to put some of your own money in the business regardless. You have to make a commitment. You can't look at somebody else financing everything. So you're going to have to use your own savings. Now, the question is, how much of that do you want to commit? And that really will depend upon what you're seeking in financing. Sometimes if a traditional a bank loan will want you to at least have 20% down on what it is you're looking for. You may be able to get an SBA loan with 10% down. There's varying circumstances, but as a business owner or a business startup, you are going to have to commit some cash to that. So you're going to have to make sure you do have cash, not only for the bank purposes or the lending purposes, but also about 6 months worth of, oops, I don't quite have enough money. I need to rely on my own savings.
Mhm.
And,
So kind of a
just as a follow-up,
Sure.
If you're doing pitches, you have to pay attention to what type of company they're looking to support, because some are like pure startup where it's just your idea they're funding. The other ones, it could be that they're looking for businesses that if they infuse some cash, that it's actually going to be able to grow. And so like using your own money is like, I still think that there's value in that, because if you won't use your own money to pay for it, why should I give you mine?
So you have to have a plan. You have to have that.
So you have to have a plan. So I think that it's important before you go like, how much money should I use? I think it's very important to figure out, do I actually have a viable thing? Because we've seen people sink lots of money and then realize that it wasn't viable. And so that's again where you want to have your network of people around you to talk to you.
Exactly.
But Rising Tide offers a little bit more risk taking. Is that true?
And that's, I wanted to get to Jahira next about responding to that question as well.
Absolutely. We're definitely risk taking. We work with, when we have participants come in, you have some of those that want to start a business, but just need a lot more guidance than others. And we are there to help them through every step of the way. So I did say it does take about 30 days to process an application, and that's as long as we have everything. But there are times where it can take maybe 2 to 3 months, just because maybe that participant actually needs more guidance in going through this process, which is something that we help with. We are also there even after, if they're approved for a loan, we're there for them if they ever need us in a year or two, if they are trying to expand or grow. We are there to assist them, again, free of cost. There's no charge for this. We are just there to help businesses, get out there and become successful and grow.
So you also provide that, if you will, mentoring or business expertise to help these people along the process.
Absolutely. Yes.
And so again, I can only, I don't think I can say this enough, that networking along with outside support and communication and those types of things are so important when you're looking to go through this. I just wanted to quickly shout out to the students and potentially faculty that are in the lunchroom. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're enjoying some of what we're talking about today. I think we have another question from, let me see, Annette is asking or saying, I have invested a good portion of my savings to coaching and training and have reached my max. So where do I go from here? Not sure what you mean reached your max in terms of the amount of savings, Annette, or the training. So whoops, let's see. Oh, no more money to spend. Okay, so we've reached the max from her savings. Where does she go from there? Who wants to take a stab at this one?
I will start. I think, and that what you need to do is plan and map out, where do you want the business to go? What have you accomplished to date? What do you need the business to do? What kind of money do you need to support where you want to go with the business? And then I think the other part of that is, once you know what you need money-wise, what do you have to offer as collateral for what you're seeking? One of the things that happened a lot when I was a lender in a bank is people didn't realize that they needed to have something to offset the amount of money that they wanted to borrow. The bank wasn't interested in just getting to be a part of their business. They wanted to make sure if something happened that they could go and have some kind of recoup on their investment in your business. So first things first, take a look at what you want to do with your business. Where do you want to take it? What's it going to take financially to get there? And then where can you go to get that money? And you've got, rising tide here. You've got some other sources that are being mentioned, as well as traditional financial institutions.
Thank you, Sally. Anyone else want to comment on that?
The other thing that, because it sounds like you're in a service business, and service businesses can be, it's interesting when you do pitch contests when you're a service business, because product businesses are sometimes easier for people to grasp, and because you have a tangible widget type thing to sell. You can say, I can sell this many of them. It can happen. And so what I found with service businesses, which it sounds like if you're doing counseling and mentorship, is that you really have to understand what your product is that you're selling, because you still have a product. It is your service. And so sometimes we can kind of go down that rabbit hole of spending lots and lots of money on developing the best service that we have. But the best advice I got was that you need to focus on your minimum viable product. And what that means is that you need to understand what it is you're offering to the marketplace. Because if you're a service business, I realized a long time ago that I shouldn't have huge overhead, because I'm a service. I don't have to build it. I don't have to, it's a lot less expensive. And so that might be something you want to consider. And that's important for pitch contests, because they want to know exactly what you're selling. So because I'm a professional organizer, I could sell anything, it's such a wide field. And so what was important and what got me through it was understanding what's my minimum viable product. How can I duplicate it? How can I do it over and over again? And that's what I offered when I did the pitch contest. And so that might be something that you want to step back, because there may be a service that you can offer that can begin to generate some revenue, so that you don't have to continue to go into savings. And then that makes you a stronger candidate for for some of the pitch contests, because now you understand exactly what you're selling.
Thank you, Javadi. That's good advice.
Catherine,
Yes,
may I just add to that?
sure.
I think that's great advice, Javada. And I think when people think about what their core is or their initial, don't forget, you've got time to add some of those other things that maybe you were thinking about doing. Not everything has to happen at once. You should have like a 3 to 5 year plan. The beginning is really, what is the core? And then as that core is sufficient and pulls you along, then you can start to add those other services. So thanks.
Great. And I guess it's kind of like that old saying, you can't do everything all at once, and focus is always a good plan when you're starting out. What are your step-by-step, where are you going to reach your certain criteria before you go all in? We had another question from the audience about explaining a little bit about microgrants and how to go about applying for one. Anyone want to add to that? I know that, microgrants are somehow by smaller amounts of money. It's kind of almost like you have to pitch. Your business needs to be viable. They're not large sums of money, but they are grants, or very similar to what you would get through a pitch contest. I believe, Javadi, you've worked with some of those, haven't you?
Yeah. So if you think about it, like when they were doing the PPE grants or money for businesses that were impacted by COVID, those are kind of like, they're like micro grants. They like Verizon has one, Comcast has one, where they may provide you with free internet service as well as access to additional marketing resources. There are, if you go to like the Small Business Association's website, they have like a vast number of grants and applications, programs that are available to you. I get information about grants and different things. I just sign up for the emails. Now, some of them may not be relevant to you, but on occasion, 1 or 2 would be great. Like there was one grant where you got a year's membership to the Association of Women Business Entrepreneurs or something of that nature. And I was like, well, I might as well try. And so it got me free access to their conference, which also gets me access to all the people who are in their organization. And so you have to think outside of the box to figure out, like, where do you want your network to go? Who do you want to be interacting with? So it's not just always about how much money can we get, can I get 10,000? Can I get 5,000? I mean, you may get access to a premier coach. And like one of the people in my cohort that was a member of the group was Precious Williams, who her whole business is on pitching, and she pitched on Shark Tank. And so you kind of see where your where your goals are going to. So you just want to figure out, who can I hitch myself to? What type of associations do I want to be a part of? And begin that, because if you had your internet free for a year, that would help your business. If you had someone who would do your social media for 3 months, that would help your business. And so you have to think about it more so than just like, oh, can I get $5,000? Because $5,000 may not help your business as much as having access to a strategist who knows how to develop your business.
And again, it's that networking, interacting with people, like people who are doing things that you're doing, people that can help you, and you broaden your network so much so that there's a go-to in so many different avenues that can be helpful. I wanted to bring up, Rita has been sharing in the chat some other good opportunities for networking, the TEDx talks, Lehigh Valley TEDx talks, as well as 1 Million Cups. And at the end of the program, there is a slide that is listing all of the things that Launchbox is doing this coming year. And there will be an email being sent to everyone who has signed up for this, they will be getting I'm sorry, they'll be getting all of those announcements as well as links to the different programs, email addresses to all three of our panelists, and the session today is being recorded and it'll be live on our website, I believe. I think someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is where all of our programs live. So if you have someone, I know someone mentioned in the chat that her business partner could not attend today. Yes, there was opportunity to view this going forward. Let me see, do we have any other questions from the audience at this point before we ask the panelists to come up with some last words of advice? Anyone from the lunchroom? Let's see. DCW is asking anyone with experience getting grants through SBA sponsored grants at federal level. I'm adverse to any sort of loan. Sally, you want to take that one to start?
Well, SBA does not necessarily provide grants. What they do is they provide either low-income loans, or they'll provide loans that don't require as much down payment or as much capital infusion, like 10% versus a normal 20%. We have gotten a little off the course with the PPP loans and some things like that, the grants the last year, but in general, the SBA does not provide grants. Even if you look at some of the diversity type related issues, they are still loans, but they'll have loans with limited or minimal requirements compared to traditional loans.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to mention anything about that? Oh, okay. Let's see. There's some very good interactions going on in chat. Let's see. What is the biggest challenge in starting a business? Well, that goes back to the basics. Let's start with Javadi, excuse me. Since you are a business owner as well as Sally. So let's start with you though.
My biggest challenge is, I think, was just believing in myself, that I had a good idea. So I just started doing the activity, and I had to then step back and realize that I started it without a business plan, and without a business plan meant that I would do anything that was vaguely associated with being in that type of business. And that kind of like led me down a lot of like rabbit holes. So I would say the best thing that I did for my business, because I'd been in business for 5 years, for a couple of years, even before I started with Penn State, the best thing that I did is if I was starting a business again, I would go through Idea Test Lab, and I would really cultivate my idea. I would understand. I feel like I could have skipped some steps, some of the learning curve steps, and I would have been very less reliant on my own personal background and believing that I didn't need anybody to help me with the business. So that's how I would have started, was just to figure out what resources were out there. One of my business coaches told me last year, was like, get every bit of education that you can, because as a business owner, the day you stop learning is probably the day you stop making money.
And never be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah,
it's very important. Sally, do you have something to add to that?
Well, I took a little bit different perspective as a lender, as a corporate lender. There are like 3 or 4 things that I'd like to just share that I saw coming time and again with people that wanted to start business. One was that they had an expectation that they would retain their current salary level. So I had 6-figure people from AT&T wanting to start a business who thought that they could still get a 6-figure with a startup. You have to be realistic as to what your business is and what it can do, and have scale down, what some of your expectations are. Second would be not willing to self-invest. We talked about that a little earlier, not willing to put your own money in, but expecting others to put money in. That doesn't fly. Third would be that your spouse or partner is not on board with what it is you're doing. That I have seen lead many times to a business going bankrupt or just closing because they didn't communicate and they weren't supportive. And then probably the last one that I've seen happen too many times is you go into business with a partner and there's really not a partner agreement because we're brothers, we're spouses, we're best friends since kindergarten. But business changes things. And if you don't have some kind of understanding and agreement up front, I will tell you, you're almost 99% going to fail.
Thank you. Good advice. Jahira, do you witness that type of thing, or what do you witness?
So what I see, so I am not a business owner, but what I see from our participants is a lot of times when they come into our offices, they have this idea in their head of what they want to do. And I think the big thing is actually taking that idea and having it written down, sort of using a business plan. So then you can really see what you are really getting into. Because at times when we are helping a business owner, we also help with the business plan, and they can actually see, wow, this is a little more than I thought. I'm going to need more help in this section, or I'm going to need help with managing my business as far as maybe finances or just other areas of businesses. So the business plan is so important, and that's where we see a lot of our participants come in, and like I said, having that written down and seeing the big picture of what am I getting into.
Right, exactly, because it is a big picture. We had a question also about, is there a specific checklist that any of you work with, prior to starting a business, or, the to-do list, if you will? Is there something that you suggest for that?
Catherine, I have a checklist that I use with my clients, both for putting a business plan together and also going for bank financing, traditional financing. So it's a list that lists all the general requirements. Now, there may be specifics depending upon who you're talking to. But I did make the bank presentation list available. I don't know if it's going to be distributed through this event or not.
Yeah, we could have that added to the email with the link to download it.
Okay, that to me would probably be the better. I mean, you can get a business plan checklist, you can get it from Rising Tide, you can get it from the Small Business Developments, and there's a lot of things out there. But the list that I've put together, although it deals more with existing businesses, it certainly can be something that a startup business could look at as well.
Fantastic, thank you. We've got about, 8 minutes left. And I just wanted to let everyone know that our speakers have agreed to stay on a little bit afterwards for networking opportunity and a more personal Q&A session. But I would like to ask each of you just briefly to close your speaking today and your advice today, and what would you send out? What would you send our audience away with as an important message? Javadi, someday I'll get that.
The one lesson is that when you are looking for resources for your business, make sure that you don't just assume that it's cash. Make sure that you understand what it is you actually need. Like, cash is important and you can buy resources, but you want to know who the people and where, kind of like where you get that money from. And and just be excited to be in business. I mean, being a business owner is so exciting and so scary, and every emotion that you can probably have. And if you can figure out the financing portion of it, then at least that's one thing you don't have to think about for a couple months. So have fun with it.
Oh, I think I like that part. Have fun with it. It's because your business is your passion. And you know what they say, it's that if you go to work and it's your passion, you're not working. It's certainly helps to grow that business. Sally, any last message?
I would like to underscore what you said, Catherine, about passion, because passion is what's going to get you through some of those times that seem very overwhelming. If you know you have a purpose and you know you're doing what you want to do, you know, like Javada said, the excitement, sometimes the excitement gets a little leveled out when you're looking at figures and things happening, but maintain that passion. That will get you through till you see the sunrise and things start to come together.
Perfect, perfect. Jahira?
I just want to say that here at the Rising Tide, we have a great support and staff that can help you in any area of your business. It's not only just the funding, we also provide free marketing service. So I believe Javadi had said something about marketing and how promoting your business. We work with other similar organizations. So any assistance that you need, we provide that. Like Catherine mentioned before, we work with businesses who are not bankable. We also work with pretty much any business. We are not strictly targeted to a specific industry. We just want to be able to help any entrepreneur wherever they may need the help to grow and succeed.
Thank you. I just want to remind everyone that we will stay on if there are any other questions. I don't see any, but what I do see is there's some great exchanges going on in the chat. So I would hope everyone would take a look at those. As I say, this is being recorded and it is on our website. I want to thank our speakers, of course, for being here today. I think you gave some very insightful and thoughtful information for our participants. Certainly want to thank all of the attendees who signed up and the students who have participated. Also, I wanted to thank our Launchbox Ladies Council, Tracy Damiani, Sharon Fraser, Kate Gennard, Rita Guthrie, Via Camille Jimenez, and Kind Zaw. And of course, Janelle Hanna for her support and assistance as always, and everyone else who helped put this together today. Again, the slide I think is coming up that has the mention of all of our programs that are coming up and some of that assistance that you can get from Launchbox. And again, this will be sent in an email so that the links are live and you can link right to them. Again, any last minute words? Otherwise, please hang in. And I'm assuming we will be going to our networking. Also, just a reminder, as a follow-up to today's program in March 3rd, we're going to be talking more traditional funding opportunities from some of our community banks that will be participating. Again, it may be virtual or in person. We're still not sure about that, but it will prove to be very interesting as well. So thank you again, and we will hopefully see you in March. Take care.
Catherine, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, so I know that we had some people that were asking about pitching. Is there any way that we could maybe consider having some type of session around that topic?
Of course, and Janelle, I need your help here with, let's see, we don't have any more questions at the moment. I certainly would support that. And also, Javadi, I don't know if any of the people are still on that wanted to see your pitch or hear your pitch, an example of your pitch. So who's left in the audience, and is that a go?
Oh, wow. Okay. Talk about no pressure here.
Oh, you can handle it. I wouldn't have asked you if I didn't think you could handle it.
All right. Well, we'll put it out there, and then that way, whoever watches the webcast afterwards, it'll still be there, right?
I assume so. Yes, Janelle? Yes. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So here we go. I haven't done it in a month, so it's going to be a little sketchy, but hopefully it'll work out just fine. So here we go. Hello, my name is Javadi Crawford, the founder of Project Move. We specialize in helping people who are about to move, in the middle of a move, or have just moved. By the way, did you know that the top 3 stressors that Americans deal with are, you probably don't know them. One is death of a loved one, divorce, and the third one is moving. If moving is so stressful for people, the question that we ask here at Project Move is, does it have to be? We use our proprietary technology to develop a plan that we can help remove some of the stress from moving. You wonder how we got started? We helped some friends that were downsizing and merging households. We were just trying it out. We saw the problems, the questions, the just general lack of know-how that people had, and they didn't know what to do with the stuff, how to get it done, who to call. And it was just like draining their time, their budget, as well as their emotional health. So we use our moving methodology, which is moving, it's motivating. What's your why to get you going? What's your organizational opportunity? What's your visions and values that you're considering? Who needs to be involved? We're looking at your now so that we can get you to the next, and every move is an opportunity for personal growth. What we're going to be focusing on, we're looking to standardize our methodology so that we can expand and have more people that are helping you move, helping you to get rid of the stress. We will use that proprietary methodology and the additional funding that you will be providing so that we can potentially develop an app. So that's what we're going to be working on for the new year, so that you have a go-to resource that you can just ask the questions. We just launched our social media platform, which is Ask Me Anything, which lets you, if you're in the middle of a move, lets you to just pose a question. We thank you for considering Project Move as a funding opportunity, and we look forward to the opportunity to continue to work with you. Thank you so much.
You got it. I think you just won. Very good. Very good. And I think an aspect of pitching, obviously there's always a time limit, right? So
yes.
one of the I would assume problems or issues is to get everything you want to say without, racing through it. Done
Yes.
in what? It's usually 2-3 minutes or so.
It's usually 2 or 3 minutes. And so what we went through was that we had to first get our business plan down to 1 page. And the reason why you want your business plan down to 1 page is because that means that you've consolidated it enough to talk about it. Because believe it or not, reading 1 page can take you like 5 minutes. And you want to make sure that you talk about everything. So I will tell you that my coach, Bob Thomas, would be sad because I forgot the one thing he always tells me that I forget, which is don't forget to tell him you're making money right now.
Yes.
So, and I always forget that. And so because they want to know, like people, like you were saying, Sally, they want to know if I give you money that you're going to continue to make money and this will make you more money, as opposed to oh my gosh, I'm gonna give you this money, it's just gonna go down a rabbit hole. But yeah, so you got to get your business plan down so that you know, like, what's something that'll get people's attention. Moving as a top 3 stressor, it's in the top 3, and they go, well, what are the other 2? And you go death and divorce, and they go, oh yeah. And so that you needed a hook. You got a hook. You got to make people aware. You have to make them think about what's going on, and you have to keep it fun, and you have to show your personality.
Definitely.
They want to know you because they're also buying you.
They're investing in you.
Yeah.
Rita.
So
I want to compliment you on the enthusiasm that you exude when you're making your pitch, because I think it's really important for us to not only have an outer smile, but have an inner smile and share our excitement about what we do with everyone, whether we're pitching or networking. And you
Mhm.
do a great job of that.
Thank you so much. We have to talk. I know we're connected, but we will get on our schedule together. So let's make February happen.
You're on.
Okay, the great networker. Sounds good. Any other questions out there? Something else anyone wants to share?
Just with reference to the last pitch, have you thought about offering parents the opportunity to help their children move either into college or out of college, sort of at that stage of life?
I've never actually had one of those moves, but now that you're planting new seeds, so they're a tremendous, the great thing about moving is that it's such a huge space. And so, yeah, I will add that. So thank you for that next nugget of information. Now you see why I have to duplicate myself.
Well, and also we just gave an example of what networking is like. This gentleman gave you an idea for your business by being part of this program. So it's so key in many walks of life, but in starting a business, it's absolutely imperative. Anything else?
I want to add to Al's suggestion. And that's another great thing about networking, is because one person has one idea and then we add layers to it. And that is, if you look at the local colleges and what students are attending that have to fly here, because their parents aren't going to drive from California with the van at the end of the semester. They have to put their stuff in storage, and then they have to get their stuff out of storage. And that's another opportunity, especially if you look at Lehigh, Lafayette, Muhlenberg, schools like that attract people from all over the country. The parents would be thrilled to hire somebody that's going to help their kid move in, move out.
Wow, oh my goodness.
Well, this is
a good day for
another
me.
partner, Shivani. Got to get you a partner in this.
And I just want to add with the Lehigh students, as we get interns and they do come from all over, and they do tell us the stories of them going back and forth. So that definitely is a great idea.
Wow. Okay.
There's actually a couple of companies. My daughter went to Syracuse. There's a couple of companies up in Syracuse that do that, to the point where they will come in and pack the stuff into boxes and haul it away. And these parents generally have a ton of money, and they don't blink twice at spending the money to have it done.
Wow. I'd never heard of it, but I mean, sometimes the simplest things are not, like that's when I tell people that your business doesn't have to be complex. Like you don't have to think of like some innovative formula to make it, happen. So thank you for that.
Fantastic. Anyone else?
Yeah, just, I don't want to jump in and monopolize. So if someone else wants to talk.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm after I go to a Million Cups of Coffee on Wednesday mornings, and I'm still in this space. There's Northampton Community College. And the idea I had today was, it's sort of a pretty big idea, and it's maybe too big for me to do on my own. But there should be a Lehigh Valley entrepreneurship group where we nurture and support and connect entrepreneurs with resources and with each other. And I was just wondering, maybe Penn State wants to be sort of an institutional sponsor of that, not necessarily with money, because it doesn't take money to set up a Facebook group or anything, but just to have the legitimacy of a big institution behind it would be a little more impactful than Al Guerra doing it on his own. But I'd be happy to be sort of the point person, the person doing a lot of that work. But I would just love, and I know there's the OECD, I think it's called, or the LVEDC. Yeah, there you go. They have a council, an entrepreneurship council, but I've heard it's a little sleepy. But just here at Million Cups, we always have these entrepreneurs coming in, and we have certainly one part of the Lehigh Valley entrepreneurship thing handled pretty well. But it'd be nice to have an overall connection facility for people, and just start with a Facebook group and just see where it goes from there. So if someone from Penn State wants to reach out to me, I'll put my email in the chat and take my video off just so you don't see me squinting at my phone. But I'll put my email in the chat, and if you want to reach out to me, that'd be great.
Al, just as a comment, there are a number of Lehigh Valley entrepreneurship Facebook groups already that exist. So I don't know which ones you have been associated with, but I would say that those are good starting points, because there's a tremendous amount of network that's already happening in those existing groups. So I don't know if there needs to be another Facebook group, because I don't, because I think they're already like 5 for entrepreneurs in Lehigh Valley.
Well, if do you see my email there, agara@yahoo.com?
I'll send you, I can send you a link to the ones that already exist.
Yeah, maybe we just need to sort of unite, because together, networks are better. Bigger networks are generally better than smaller networks.
Yeah.
But,
So yeah. So I mean, there are a number. I mean, they probably have like 500 or so people in them already. So I'm just not sure what you're looking for. So
live and learn.
But they do exist.
Yeah, I certainly, if it already exists, that's awesome. One less thing to do, but I just didn't realize that. And then back to your business idea, I was thinking you could almost call it rent a parent. Like you'd be the mom on site doing all the things that the parents can't do because they're across the country. Even apart from moving, whatever needs to be done, sort of a concierge service. And like these people going to Lehigh from California, they're already spending, whatever amount a year to charge a couple thousand extra for some real white glove service where their child gets tremendous service out of it. I think it might really work. And then the other question is, do we have someone who can connect you with the Lehigh community or the Lafayette community? I went to Lehigh, but I don't really know anyone there, but maybe someone in the network can help you out with that.
Okay. I will definitely I will add it to my list. But as what Sally was on there saying is that I manage expansion very strategically. So I don't want to try to do something that I'm not capable of executing well. But I will definitely add it to the list.
It's something very good to look into. I think we probably have taken enough time. It's almost 15 after 1. Again, thank you so much, Sally, Javadi, and Jahira, and everyone who participated in the program. Again, this is recorded, so it'll be on our website. And thank you again for sharing all this great information. Be well, and hopefully see you in March at our next event.
Thank you, Catherine. You did awesome.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
That was a success.